Helly is a liar.
Oh, good.
Well, okay, no. Helena Egan is a liar.
Did you pick up on it yourself?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I had to go to Reddit.
I thought it was her to begin with up until she started lying. And I was like, okay, she's lying for a reason. Maybe she's just ashamed. And then the more went on, I'm like, wait a minute.
You think Helly would be like, you never guess what? I'm the CEO's kid.
No, I think that she would be ashamed of that and probably try to hide it. But the way she talked about what she saw on the outside was too specific.
Yeah.
I was like, it was weird things. And then her getting pulled up on like
The gardener thing.
I was like, I don't know, it feels strange. And then her comment about...
We're separate people.
Yes. I was like, that can go both ways. But it's more interesting if she's an inside man for like the writing.
Not knowing where the switch is for the computer seems to be the damning moment for people.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
She like reaches around the back and but to be fair, I do that all the time on my computer and it's
Yeah.
been
But
my
it's
computer
muscle
for
memory.
years.
She,
Yeah.
as Helly, has only done one thing for days at this
Yeah,
point, like with
yeah.
muscle memory. It's all on purpose with this
Yes.
show.
I thought that was just like a nice moment between everyone. I didn't notice she lingered too much.
Yeah, that seems to be the big thing. And like, are they even on their actual floor? Is this a testing floor? Like,
True, didn't consider it could be a completely different floor because that's easier than removing walls.
I think he's on his normal floor at the start.
Yeah.
It felt slightly different to me. I didn't analyze if anything had changed, but I thought, oh, it's a new season. Maybe it's like different lenses and it just looks different.
And he gets turned around and he's running.
I was too distracted by the coolest fucking opening ever because big cinematographer, big camera boy.
So how do they do that? He's like in a CG space so they can move the camera around and stuff.
Maybe what I would guess would be big robot arm. So big robot arm with a high-speed camera on it, it's whipping it around. You might have seen Cole do the red carpet.
I've seen the red carpet stuff.
Yeah, the glam bot.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah,
same
something
camera rig, big robot arm that can move very, very quickly. But then it must be on magnets because they detach it pretty easily, and then it's someone chasing him down the corridor.
I thought some of it was maybe they've CG'd
they
the
kind of
office
morph
space.
between
I think the
parts.
ceiling might be completely fake, and it's
Yeah.
on some kind of camera rig above the space, and it's
Yeah.
moving around that way. And then they just cover up the tracks that it's running down like that because it's too quick to be a camera car. Like there's corners everywhere. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So it must be something robotic, and it's just the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. I loved it so much.
Yeah, it was really awesome, but it's funny that you mentioned the like getting disoriented in the hallways that he's gone through so many times for years. But
I thought that was
I took it as, oh, it's just he got turned around because he's never gone from the elevator
Yeah.
to wellness because that's
Yeah.
where he was
That's
running
true.
to.
We did think
so he
that.
would maybe get turned around, but then he studied the map. He
And
read
he's stressing.
through it.
Did he study the map? He looked at the map.
Yeah, but from his perspective,
Yeah.
he's just yelled, she's alive. And then,
Yes.
because at the end of episode 9 of season 1, you hear the ding of the elevator. So
Yeah.
and from their perspective, it is like blinking.
Somewhat. Okay, let's go through the episode from that point. So, Innie Mark hasn't been alive since he yelled she's alive.
And we don't know.
Correct.
We're told 5 months, but I'm really
No,
curious.
it's not.
It could be. Like, they would have had to scramble to do some shit.
But what gets me is that milkshake.
Milkshake. Oh my God.
From now on, that's all I'm calling
Is
it.
that
Milkshake.
milkshake still is unpacking? What, it took him 5 months?
5 months, he's still got stuff in bubble wrap.
I guess it's a changeover. Like,
It
they
took
might have...
5 months, though.
Well, they might have scrapped the whole floor for a little while, so
Yeah.
then he wasn't down there
I
doing
think
stuff.
it's
Yeah, okay, I
it's
get
questionable though,
Yes,
because why is it taking 5
It
months
might
to do
be
this?
5 years, and like we don't know. It could also be a week, but that's the interesting thing. It's like we're going to find out why he came back. I mean, his is pretty obvious. He wants to come back to see his wife.
Because do you think we're only going to be
think
with
we're getting
Mark?
Mark, yeah.
Just Mark next
I
week.
think
There's going to
so.
be no cuts to anyone else.
I think so, and I would rather that because again, House of the Dragon. Here's 6 characters' journeys in 1 hour, so you end
Yeah.
up with 10-15 minutes per character. Give me an hour of Mark outie. I'll
Yeah.
be very happy.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
all
right.
outy in
Yes,
that.
I would say either 90% or the whole thing.
And it could be from that point again where it's like, you just yelled she's alive. No, I fucking didn't.
yeah, it's
Or-
like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. And then you'd look down. He doesn't have anyone's word to take except the people he just shouted at. So the only person he can believe
Is his sister.
is his sister, which he would believe her. But that's still a weird thing that you didn't know you could get taken over outside of your job.
would
You
hate
blacked
that.
out for a second.
You would hate knowing that he's was interacting.
And also you saw your wife die. Like you were in that car with your wife.
Oh, was he?
Oh wait, actually I don't know that.
we don't
for a
even
fact.
know the
That's
details
true.
of the crash, if he was there or not.
You've been for 2 years. Your
I'm
wife
going to
is
assume
dead.
he wasn't there because they body snatched her and probably put her in a plant or something.
Well, I mean, if they both got carted away, I guess it's like, yeah. That's if it is her. I know you said last episode that they debunked cloning.
This sounds like a super boring version of Severance.
But that still might be.
Yeah, we'll go with that in the
Yeah.
end.
So-
we see the Egan execution painting. Like, is it a different
Unless there's
floor?
a new O&D.
Is it a new O&D?
Yeah, they
put
might have
up?
just decided, fuck these guys, we're going to put this up.
And
because
someone was
4
pointing out
people.
the constant use of, I don't know what it means, just circles. Like, there's the circle there, there's circles on projectors, there's the weird water
Yeah, the
game.
new break room.
Oh, I mean, the circles on the projector is just because that's the kind of projector. It's a CRT
But still, goddammit,
projector.
it's some
It's an
circle
old
motifs.
school projector, yeah. It works with like 3 color wheels instead of 1.
That's awesome.
It's cool as hell.
Yeah.
And apparently it's incredible quality, but we don't make it anymore because they're the size of that table.
massive.
Like,
Yeah.
it would be a stupid idea. Dylan wakes up. He says, the last thing I remember was being tackled.
Yes.
But he was still on the 7th floor.
Oh,
so
true. So he
wouldn't
wouldn't
have been
have-
disconnected when the things went off.
Good
Unless there's some
point.
weird technical, like when the overtime contingency turns off, they
I
all
don't know
turn
if
off.
it's an oversight on their
Or
part,
maybe Milkchick came and did something to him
Possible.
when he tackled him.
Or
Maybe he just got knocked out by being tackled.
also possible.
Yeah.
But Dylan was fucking funny this episode.
So
Like,
funny. It
peak
was
Dylan.
stuff I wrote down.
You owe me a belt.
I owe him a belt cut specifically. I want to cut his belt.
I mean, fair, I tackled the man first, but I didn't fuck with his belt.
True, yeah. He doesn't want just a belt. He wants to take his belt.
Yeah.
That's strange to me, like, that he was on the floor, so either, yes, he got knocked out, or Milkshake did something weird, or he's lying as well. But also, he seems pretty genuine for the rest of the episode.
When he runs to wellness and sees that his wife's not there, I assumed it was Milkshake watching him in the background.
Yes,
But now
I thought it was Milkshake
But now
too.
I'm unsure. I don't know.
What shirt was Milkshake wearing underneath? Because
He's
the guy in the background...
blue
It was
on black.
white with
oh,
a
yeah.
with a navy blazer in the background.
Yes,
and
but I
that
thought
was my
Milkshake was wearing black under.
He was wearing, I think, a cobalt blue, wasn't he? At that point, with the navy
Possible.
blazer.
Which means it would be weird for him to run off quickly and change his shirt.
Yeah,
You know, that was just me. I just wandered into frame, and Ben yelled, and I left.
I didn't immediately I assumed it was Milkchick, but I wasn't sure because
Milkshake.
he never wears blazers normally. Like, it's the first time, but it's
He's the
because he's
boss
stepping
now.
in the
Yeah.
boss.
She's
yes,
a proper
but it's the
Lumon
first
employee.
time.
It's Mr. Milchick to Sarah.
It is. I'm scared of him.
It's not continuity. The show doesn't do that for no reason. Did you see in the Wikipedia, they have a whole section on inconsistencies because it's on purpose? Yeah, just anything that doesn't line up between episodes or that doesn't make sense. Like this, how we're like, oh, is it Milkshake or is it the other thing?
You didn't say
I know,
Milkshake. You're fired.
It's the last thing I heard.
So Irving is still banging on the door
Yes.
because he doesn't realize he's been cut
Yeah.
because he's closed his eyes and he's
Yeah.
banging on the door,
He, I believe,
which makes us believe why Helly then isn't going, we're trapped. She's still Helena.
Yes.
Like, she's not in that moment
yes.
still.
Yeah, it's also, we don't know whether she was cut off at that exact point, I guess. But yeah.
It's from Helena Lumon's perspective, what use is there in going back down there anymore and
That's
being
the big
severed?
question.
Yeah.
Like, so it has to be you went down there as an agent to figure out what these guys know.
Unless she now has to continue on pretending to be her innie so that the public thinks, okay, it is good. They were just confused. Like, maybe it's a damage control thing.
And you obviously, I mean, it's the most obvious one. The whole Severance reform is bullshit. Like
Oh, that's
that.
so fucking funny.
Oh, yeah. But half of it was redacted as
Yeah,
well. Like
and they
90%.
did nothing. They're like, we added new snacks to the machine, and you can now.
Yeah,
Oh,
we've
we'll go
added
over the
candy
Keanu.
now.
Yeah.
The Keanu Reeves building is a whole.
Keanu Reeves.
It's the voice of Keanu Reeves.
Is
The
it?
building.
That's
Oh, well, at
fantastic.
least we assumed so because it sounded
It
like
is,
him.
it
I
was
don't think we
definitely
actually
Keanu.
fact checked it.
But
It's definitely Keanu.
That's fantastic. I did notice that they were smiling a lot while watching because they've never watched an animation before.
They've never watched
This blew their
anything.
fucking mind.
True.
Like, they're like,
And
this is
seeing
probably bullshit.
themselves initially, and
Yeah.
then it was
Especially Dylan thinking he's famous, and now there's a claymation him.
Yeah.
Although then the Dylan in the claymation does something, and he's like, I didn't do that. He's like, I'm not that bad, am I? And there's a whole South Park bit where they're like, it's a bunch of companies doing like a fake "We're sorry" montage where they're like, sorry for.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's like, it's literally just that. And it's so funny that they've done absolutely nothing except add more snacks. And they're going to stop torturing them. Like, they're going to stop breaking the Geneva Convention by putting them in a room.
And we got some clear dates that we are at the
flagship.
main, like,
Yes,
where
of
it was.
206.
1870. I know I've changed a lot since 1870.
Which, because you were talking a lot about how new is the company. Very
we know.
old.
Yeah.
And we don't actually know without we could be in some quasi 2040. We don't actually know what the current time is.
That's another thing. We don't know if we're in our dimension, as in like
the near distant future or something.
Yeah, like The Last of Us, the big change was the zombie outbreak, so everything after that is totally different. We don't know when the break from our reality is.
Yeah, when Severance actually occurred and when things
like
changed.
I'm watching Silo at the moment.
Sorry.
But there's a definite point where they talk about, like, oh, it's the future, but they're using retrofuturism a lot like this.
With Last of Us, they made it that the outbreak was 2003, so then they can have older cars that were cheaper. If you have it that the outbreak was 2013, then those cars are still quite expensive.
Just the last touch on the like first waking up afterwards of Irving and saying how funny Dylan is, because it was so funny to me that he's like, Irving, what's wrong, man? Were you poor or some shit up there?
Yes.
I was like, hell yeah.
They brush over it so quickly as well. Like, they don't linger on. It's not like a ha ha ha. It's literally, they say it, they're gone. I'm like,
Yeah, but Dylan was very needed in that first episode.
Dude, what's wrong? You poor up there?
This isn't a question so far of if this show is good. I think we all agree that this episode was a good show.
The only gripe is just that we have to wait weekly. And that's painful.
And I guess if you want to be like, because it's not their fault, it's a TV show. This was just a palate cleanser. Here we go into the new season. Like we've planted some questions. You've got to be paying attention.
It's mostly set up. Yeah,
it's set up, which is
It needs to
absolutely
be.
fine.
you can't treat the show poorly because it's a status quo reset.
Yeah, it's a
like, they
status
have
quo
to do
reset.
this.
Before all that, before we get the crew back, Mark has a new team made up of two other departments. You've got Mark W. and Gwendolyn.
Yes.
But I just know as maybe. from Arrested Development.
Good to see her again.
Yeah, she's cropped up here and there. And then Dario,
Yes.
who is from a
wooden
wood-only
type wing?
headline.
And he
How
says
do you say rope?
he didn't have an elevator.
So
he
they have
has
to
a
climb
rope.
up and unsever that way?
Yeah,
Or
it makes me
slide
feel like he's
down?
like a pirate or
He
something.
could just be an insane person.
Yeah, but what was interesting was all the little things they spoke about. How your in perpetuity ring, they're not animatronic, and then he's there. Oh, they're all brooms with mine. Like
they're all made out of
That's what like, there's no way he's being real, right? But I don't know. But if they're experiments, maybe they did decide
Wait,
that this ring would be funny.
What was it that they cobbled together this whole situation for him, like a new team for Mark? And from what we now know is that they haven't severed since Dylan, Irving, like, because Irving is still in his moment and Dylan's still in his moment.
Yeah.
So their outies had obviously stayed out.
Yeah, they obviously thought it was very strange, and they're like, I don't want to go back down
Yeah, I
there.
don't wanna go back down there.
because they have all their rights when they're up there. Like,
Yeah,
they can do whatever they
so
want.
Mark is told, oh, this is it, back to normal. You've done some good things, but here you go, back to it.
You begged us to come back.
You begged us to come out. It's been 5 months.
Which I don't necessarily think is like a lie yet, because he could have done that to try to see what Miss Casey's doing and stuff, like his dead wife.
Who knows how the show works, but I have to assume that from the basic, because I'm only a simple man, that Outie Mark's motivation is, well, now
Wife.
it's aligned with his innie. We
Yeah.
want to know where my wife is, so I'm going to trust that my innie knows what we're doing.
And then the innie takes on that role and thinks he's a secret agent now.
I love that he's an idiot still, because he's not good.
He's been alive for 2 years.
Yeah.
Do you mean the changes halfway, like when he does the like, oh, you didn't
note
see what I
thing?
did to the
Yeah,
kitchenette?
but like,
so funny.
Even before that, when he's like realizing what he has to do, he, instead of saying to Milchik, oh, like, where's my wife or anything like that, he plays it on the down low. He's being very sneaky about it because he thinks he's been sent by his Audi as a secret agent
and
to
you
like
would be,
break it out.
you wouldn't ever want them to know what you're doing now.
But he's
'cause
an
you see how
idiot
crazy they
child.
are. Yeah.
Maybe does have my favorite line from the thing, even more than what we pour out there.
Oh my God, how's wind? Is it just like getting breathed on, kind of?
I'm like, what? And again, she says that, and then they
I
move on.
missed that one, yeah, because I heard the Night Sky one.
Yeah, she does. Maybe
obviously.
asking a bunch of what's out there.
Mark W. Oh, that what got me.
Are you willing
I
to
knew
change
it.
your name?
Like, you want to be the sole Mark or something.
Yeah, so they're just a ragtag insane crew that disappear.
What was interesting was that he says, I can tell you must like your guys because my guys were terrible. They never made quota.
Yes.
And I thought that's interesting. Like, what were they doing? Just
Well, his
dicking
department
around?
was scrapped, they do
Was
say.
Scrapped.
And he thought he was gonna die,
Him and
like-
Maybe were brought in because they're from the same. And then Dario was brought in from Woodland. And he has his own wood.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
the
does
wood
have a
face,
wooden
yeah.
Which
thing
I have to imagine he
instead of
carved
glass.
himself for all I
I thought it
know.
would be a prize.
But we're told that Mark's and wasn't a prize. It was just given to him, and Dylan was pretty sore over it. Remember that in like episode? How'd you get the cube? And Dylan goes, "It's not a prize. It was given to him, or whatever."
Oh, probably because Cobel was horny.
Well,
maybe.
Yeah, we learned a lot of a lot of interesting things about there, like just how deep is this? Are they from the same building? Are they been moved?
It's quick. Like they're just throwing all these things at you. It doesn't even slow down till more than halfway through, and then they're like, okay, now the group's back together.
Because jumping to the video, we're told 206 or 7 countries we're in.
206 countries, yeah.
And leading to the whole water tower theory, the water, because thanks, water tower.
He has a random thing.
Yeah, and it's like
it's all by water,
on this
like Loom.
body of water in front of them, and then the water tower.
In his photo, in his painting that Irving's looking at, he's looking over a river, like, I've discovered it.
And also you then cut to Miss Huang, which we haven't even spoken about yet. And she's playing her little toy from the drawer, and it's Kia swimming. So it's more water again.
Is that just a fun retro game? Because she can't have an electronic device.
Yeah.
It's all on purpose, though. But the theory that you say is that they're all named after water towers, some files that show.
Not my theory, but something that I heard people say.
Primary theory. So we think that they're controlling water or trying to do something to water. Like, it's the ultimate capitalism, right? I'm going to own water.
I guess. I have zero thoughts on water theories. Like, water
I
doesn't
don't
even
either.
touch my brain.
Yeah, heard it. But if it's not a water thing, and it's sort of not a clone thing, but we're skipping ahead a bit to that last shot of the whole episode. If it is them refining experimental conscious or other people's
That's my main theory.
Because it is those 4 tempers.
Yes, we meet all them, and then Mark, thinking he's clever, bless him, writes a note from the perspective of Mark W.
But he doesn't know handwriting.
Doesn't know handwriting.
Because he only works on a computer.
Why?
I think so. Because he only uses a computer for his job.
So he wouldn't know handwriting.
He's written stuff down. He's seen it, but he's never put together. Oh, we have different handwriting. Because realistically, if you haven't seen a bunch of different handwriting, you wouldn't know.
True.
And the only writing we've ever seen was Petey doing the map. He was doing annotations.
Yeah.
And that's all, I think.
We maybe saw a bit of Helly's like scribblings before she folded them up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's something that wouldn't have occurred to him.
Yeah, so he did
puts
not
like
realize.
this funny like
Milkshake is horrible. Or
yeah, Mr. Milkshake is the worst. And so Mark then tries to run away.
Well, first,
after doing the fake
he
kitchen
changes
thing.
again, and says, "You haven't seen what I've done to the kitchenette yet." And they're all like, "Oh no!" And then he's like, "Time to go."
But then he just kicks off, right? He just goes,
he gaps it to Cobel's office because he knows he can he tries to contact the board.
who aren't on, and then just says, "I don't understand why." So do you reckon it was the board's decision? Because he just takes him and goes, "See you, Mark." And then Mark wakes up in the elevator, and here we go. You got your crew again.
It would have been their decision, I guess, as in the next 3 or 4 episodes are going to be why did they all come back? They had to be convinced somehow, whether through money or whether they all realize they have their own thing to do.
Because this whole episode is also, they're all in some way, shape or form being made to stay. Like, Dylan, you're the only one with a family, so we're going to do a family visiting ward.
Oh.
Or at least they're being appeased.
Yeah, and then
But yeah, it's this.
happy to be there because it is Helena.
Well, because they have no reason to stay otherwise. Like, a lot of them would want to leave.
But then they don't exist, which is also a big thing, right?
I mean, Irving would be okay with that currently, but also for Dylan, it's like he's
always been an incentives man. You know?
But like his Audi can see the kid, so maybe he's like, my Audi can be happy rather than me. Like, but yeah, they're being appeased to stay, so obviously they need them there for a reason.
They're still doing experiments or testing or something.
Yeah,
on like a social
or because they're good,
experiment
because they did hit. They were good at their jobs.
Quota, that's true.
They were. Well, I was saying this, that they like secretly the only team that were refining successfully.
Like, you need rebellion to be productive or something.
Is Mark good at refining that file because it's his wife?
Yes, because she could be that test subject.
Yeah.
Because if she was in a horrible car accident with her brain, like maybe they're reconstructing her brain slowly. That's the theory, though. We'll go over
I
later.
want her to be alive.
She's alive once they put her back together.
They must be rewriting their severed versions.
Or at least setting them back to 0.
They're refining them.
Yeah.
So
like,
they're chiseling away and trying to make the severed version perfect. It's
possible.
refinement.
Yeah. Well, the problem with cloning is you can't clone the human brain. Like, the pathways...
I don't think it is cloning, but I think they...
Well, a theory that makes sense to me, at least, is you can clone a body, goats, but you can't make those connections in the brain again. So emotion is basically impossible to do. So if you're sorting a bunch of bits of brain into boxes of what the emotion is, so that's rebuilding a person.
Which would, I guess, explain why Miss Casey was so robotic and didn't really have... But you could see there were emotions underneath in a way, but are we just putting that on a...
I was just noticing because I'm seeing that the posters. There's one of Dylan, like, hold on.
With hang in there? Or hold on.
So, yeah.
And I thought that was so great
I couldn't
as
tell
well.
who that was. I saw, what's the grin and bear it or whatever?
And a frolicaholic.
I didn't understand any of them except the Dylan hang in there one.
Yeah, but they just looked creepy.
So anyway, you brought up, so Miss Huang is a child, a teenager.
Or is she an adult's brain in a child's body because they cloned the
Is she
body
Miss
and it's
Casey
growing
as a
up?
kid? I don't know.
I said that to him. I said, I don't think that's meant to be. But I was then saying they would be messed up enough that they've somehow constructed someone that's meant to look like what their kid would have looked like if she had lived.
Mr. Milch was not severed when he was in that position, nor was Ms. Cobel severed. So are we assuming that this 17, 18-year-old girl is not a severed person?
I don't know, but Milch doesn't like her. Like, he gave some very not happy looks at her and, like, was pretty scornful. Like, when he closed the door at the end after talking to Dylan, he basically glared at her and, like...
Unless he's just stepping into a role of what Ms. Cobel did to him. Like the cycle of abuse. Because Ms. Cobel she did similar weird, erratic things of closing a door or open or closed. Yes. Like being annoying to Mark,
Speaking of Ms. Cobel, she wanted a threesome with Mark
Allegedly.
S. and Mark Innie and Outie, which
It's
I
nonsense.
don't believe.
No, I take it. Anything Milchik says is not true.
It wasn't
is
not
my
weird,
rule.
but it doesn't seem like that was her goal, especially because she loved Kia so much.
I'm really excited to see what happens with her storyline outside now that she's been fired, because you've told like the most devout person of this religion that the religion basically doesn't want you anymore.
Then she saved
so she's
the day.
going to be going psycho.
Well, she's also coming back because the next episode is called Hello, Ms. Selvig, which is possibly her real name. We don't actually know which one's which.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, again, we have no idea, but there's so many options that they can go with.
And I don't know if the like goat thing's gonna be like, because we didn't get anything goat-like in this first episode.
And we didn't get anything goat for most of last season either until they were like, hey, by
but
the
was
way.
it like paintings and stuff?
Was it?
Outside Wellness, there's like a battle painting and there's a goat that's like down on the ground, like a half goat, half human. So the goats were more prominent.
In this episode, the most prominent O&D painting is the one where it seems like
them.
Kier is executing, if it's them.
4 people that popped up to have a look.
4 people popped up to have a look.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
So
even
either they
better.
were buried or
they've
popped up, which both kind of equals the same thing. And it was a Civil War painting as well. When Kier was founded was just after the Civil War, maybe?
Yeah,
Like roughly?
1870 is a post-Civil War thing, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Which, I mean, if they did run all the water and privatize that, then they would have lots of money.
Yeah.
You know?
So
I have no theories about the water thing, but then they cut to the water tower and say, hey, water tower, what do you think? I'm like, all right, we're doing something with the water. And the logo obviously is water.
Not to go back a bit, but are we all in agreement that the stuff that Milkshake's saying to Dylan is a lie? Like, I get single dad vibes from him, not that he has a wife. And he's like, your wife's name is this. We're going to have a visitation blueprint.
I think they're all going to be, because he's only saw one kid briefly for 5 seconds. Like, my thought was, they're just going to bring in a fake family for Dylan every few months to keep him happy.
Yeah. But why would his family agree to that? But also, why would his Audi? We're going to be told over the next few episodes why Dylan came back, because Dylan had no real reason to come back.
Well, you were saying, is it that Dylan, because the way their personas were, maybe that like his outie was a complete workaholic and just had all this workaholic tendencies. So it's like, right, I'll just sever that version of myself. He can be a big workaholic for 8 hours, then I can just be the best dad, husband, whatever.
Very true.
Morning and evening.
Maybe his family was like, please go back to work. Like,
you're annoying us again.
His OCD and all that stuff around the
Yeah.
house.
Well, if it's the same tendencies outside as inside, he wants all the stuff. Like, he wants to hit every quota and get all the stuff.
Yeah.
So if he was like that anyway, he's probably constantly he's a crypto bro, maybe. He's constantly watching stocks go up and down.
Maybe.
Or maybe his Audi's been incentivized and told something completely different. Like, if you go back in as an innie, then
double
like,
money.
there's something that he's going to work towards that maybe you could get la 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 la, yeah.
And that seems like the ultimate incentivization. We'll just give you more money. But then you're there going, why does Mark S, why is he so important? Like, what is it about Mark?
Well, he begged to go back, and again, maybe they need him.
They need him, clearly, because they can't just go, look, it's not working out. And so we'll pay you out. Sorry, but, Here's 100 grand. We'll see you later.
Which probably does link back to whatever they're doing MDR-wise, whatever they're sorting through, and if it is genuinely linked to his wife, then they've clearly put a lot of eggs in this basket about what they're doing, maybe, if they're successful.
He knows his wife the best, so he's working on her case forever.
They look at screens and get weird emotional response from numbers. So I keep thinking a day special. Like, there's only certain people who can do that.
But then Helena came in, and so it
Maybe she's working on a previous Egan or something.
Yes, entirely possible, which would be the goal, right? It's her dad's not going to live forever. Maybe he wants to live forever.
So where's this whole thing? Like, is her dad dying? Like, or is it just that he
sounds like it. He looks like it.
Do you think there's an immortal level to it that he's trying to... Because I have this whole thing with the family of like... I keep expecting Keir to pop up as this, like, he's an uploaded consciousness, like...
I mean, maybe every CEO was the same CEO.
That's what I
down.
think. If it's like... But I was there going, is it like a Mr. House or in Fallout, or like the uploaded consciousness in, like...
Altered Carbon?
Like he's on some kind of ultra and he's the board. Because I was thinking, is the board just the uploaded consciousness of all the past CEOs?
All their brains would be kept, like, because we don't know how Severance works, I guess, is one of the main things. So it could be anything.
But they're weirdly religious enough that you could have some future armor, like heads in jars or whatever.
Well, if you lived forever and it was the same Egan over and over and over and over again, they would be very religious because, oh, he's an immortal god.
Yeah,
it's just passing down.
What are they refining then? If he's already achieved it, why would they be refining? Whereas it feels like now, maybe they're about to.
Unless they're wanting to keep the bodies themselves alive now and to like keep that connection there.
They're going to clone the bodies. Maybe they've got all of their severed chips with whatever information it needs, and they've just got to work through that.
Assuming Mrs. Huang is not severed, I have to imagine she's just someone's kid, right? It's nepotism. Like, it's someone's kid.
I mean, it could be. We've never seen anyone except a white Egan, though, in all of the, like, they show all the Egans in the thing.
But
I
just think, like, why would there be a 17-year-old here?
She's probably meant to be 14, yeah.
Okay, so why is there a notable teenager? That it's weird that she's there.
Yeah.
They've never even... It feels like they haven't even seen a kid. They know it's a kid because... But they probably have never seen a kid.
Why are you a child?
Because of when I was born.
Yeah.
But with Milkshake not liking her, he either actively despises her, I don't know why, or
he didn't want it.
He thinks she's spying on him. Like, maybe she's a plant.
The same way he probably spied on Ms Cobel.
Yeah,
so
which is how he probably worked his way up.
So he's suspicious of that. Yeah, the whole, like, I need you to get rid of this on the computer, like, it's really important for him.
Yes, he needs to be in charge.
Yeah, which is, for us, once again... I'll tell you, I would not be surprised if it hasn't been 5 months, it's been 2-3 weeks, and it's all this has been a big turnaround.
Yeah. This is a company with 206 locations. Why haven't they updated his IT thing? Maybe it is just like a comment on like, hey, IT in big companies sucks, lol.
Is what this character...
Yeah, like another character moment.
What he cares about.
I think, no, it's 5 months, he's still unpacking, unless he was appointed that day, like, or whatever. Yeah. He's just been hanging around for 5 months. I feel like he would have been, because it's this company, appointed pretty quickly.
Also, was the photo of them in the limousine, is it the photo from...
It's just the photo of them from their group photo,
yeah, is it the group photo and they've just pushed them closer together?
That's what I think it is.
Obviously, it's not real, because their Audis wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, we're heroes. Like, cool.
Because they're trying to say that.
You took over my body outside of work. Not cool. Another weird moment for Milkshake. He says, I locked you in a room like an animal, and as an unsevered man, I have to live with that forever.
Yeah.
But he definitely seemed to revel in that last season, so I don't know whether he realized it was wrong, or whether he always knew it was wrong, but he'll do anything for Kia.
Like weirdly, religious motivations where they always think they're doing good by whatever they're told to do.
Helly's really good at reminding everyone that there's no cameras. Remember, there's no cameras.
Before we even know that there's no cameras. She's like, hey,
say that?
Wait, what happened to the security camera?
So she's pointing out the no camera
because
thing.
Either Helena is trying to ease them into it, or she could just actually have noticed.
Yeah, because they've made the storage closet just a store, the storage room a storage closet, but then they've kept the bathroom and kept the kitchen, obviously.
Yeah, but she also would know everything that her Innie did because of all they recorded everything. They proved that during the animation where they have Irving saying, let's burn it all to the ground.
Audio's are bugged.
Yeah, so they heard everything. So Helena could have listened to Helly.
Is it Helen? Is it Lana or Helen? I don't know.
Oh, Helena?
Helena.
Okay. Helena could have listened to Helly for her entire stay and been like, okay, I know exactly what my relationship with each character is. I can play this out because I need this to work.
And I like that it probably is Helena.
I love that it's subtle.
But why wouldn't they have come up with a better story for her when she came in and lied?
Maybe they thought they would never ask, or like...
Come on.
Again, I don't know.
I think it's really clever because we're there going, oh, Helly, because at first I thought, oh, Mark has to tell them that Miss Casey's his wife, and he does. So
I'm
when it
glad
cut
he
to
did.
Helly, I'm like, oh, okay, she's not going to say because it's just that, it's a storytelling beat.
Yeah.
So she's not going to reveal, I'm the CEO's kid, I'm the heir to all of
I'm
this.
the reason you guys are in this horrible mess.
I think it would be Helly, what we know from season 2, would walk out the elevator, go to Mr. Milch and go, I'm in charge. I'm the heir to all of this.
Yeah, it's weird that she doesn't.
And she would be reminded, no, you're the inner. You are not Helena.
Yeah, she would try to pull rank, but the fact she doesn't is weird, because why would she hide it from the get-go? Because otherwise she wouldn't have thought about it until that moment.
Yeah.
It is still weird that the story is kind of shitty and that even Irving knows that night gardeners shouldn't exist.
I definitely think that she's lying.
But then she wouldn't know that anyway because she lives in such a world, you can only assume, where everything's been done for her forever. So she doesn't know that gardeners probably, it wouldn't occur to her because she's this uber billionaire girl.
Yeah.
Who doesn't
And
know
also,
these things.
if she lives in a shitty apartment, why does she have a gardener?
Yeah.
So many inconsistencies.
I love how subtle it is, though. Like, every TV show has done the body swap or something like that, and it's always immediately, blatantly obvious, or you don't realize
Because
at all.
it makes sense for both versions to not reveal it in a sense.
Yeah.
I believe that she wouldn't want them to think that of her.
Yeah, but normally the camera will like dolly in on the person and they'll like give a smirk or something, and you're like, they're evil. If only we had known. But with this, it's actually part of the conversation.
And it was good having Irving question her from the beginning. Like,
Yes.
having one of them be like...
And also
"No, I'm
Irving
not
doesn't
gonna
tell his
buy
story
your
either.
stuff." He's lonely. He's probably ashamed of the fact that he immediately didn't follow the plan. But also, he's probably... I do think him being suspicious of Helly lying
Yeah.
has made him go, well, if she's going to lie, I'll lie. I'm not going to say it.
But he does also tell Dylan later on.
Yeah, but they're mates. They're bros.
He was researching Severance. Like,
He was
but
looking
he
deep
didn't have enough
into
time to
it.
go through all that. He basically found the map and said, but
Because if he was really on the mission, he would have got a paint canvas and painted the message so his innie wouldn't miss that. Would go,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
But he
would have
was
filmed
busy.
himself or something. Like,
yeah. That's the thing. It's like they really weren't changed for very long. Like, none of them really had too much chance.
an hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah, if that.
Mark was confronted by his idol immediately and then confused and then had a little chat with sister.
They did bring that up to Dylan. He's like, holy shit.
Yeah,
Rick,
that was very
oh,
good. And also Dylan just being like, are we all famous equally, or is one of us like the star? Like, that's another thing with him. He needs to be the best. So
Yeah.
maybe he is an asshole to his family and they're like, dude, you suck. Please go back to work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just unplug for 8 hours. It does you good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it's amazing how, like, this, when you first watch, you're like, that's a bit of a, I mean, you have to remind yourself, fairly uneventful episode.
If you were ranking them, like, you can't give this a number grade because what are you going to give it, a 7 because nothing happens? But then
yeah,
you're like,
how'd you rank
but
it?
it's all planning.
It's setting stuff
and there's
up,
so
yeah.
much stuff that we've just discussed about for
Yeah.
40
I
minutes.
did feel
Yeah.
rather blue-balled because I was like, I want outies. I want to see what's going on right now, but
But we'll see. It's 10 episodes this season, so they've got a bit
that's
Yeah,
good.
more.
I mean, we still got 9 last time. Honestly, giving us 10 hours is a revolution in this day and age. Like, not cutting it to 8. Like, bravo.
All it took was 3 years and a writer's strike, and
I mean, they probably had time to refine it because, like, even
Hey.
if you're a writer on strike, you don't stop thinking about your
I
life
was going to
story.
say, like, when that was happening, they're like, pencils down. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. Like, you're telling me you're not at the home office going, oh, you know.
Unless it's like a job, and you're like,
Yeah.
I don't care about this one. But,
But
yeah.
when it's your passion project, I haven't wrote anything else ever, you know, which is...
Yeah, I did look him up.
Yeah.
This is the first thing he worked on. He was like a producer on something else.
Yeah,
so,
yeah,
like,
yeah, he's-
stuck his foot in the door a little bit and then thought, I could do that. Like,
and can
incredible.
we sidebar to say how like Ben Stiller is such a proud
He's
dad.
very passionate for this.
Seeing all the like promos
footage.
for it, yeah, he's just so sweet.
Years into our relationship, we both were like, Walter Mitty is an underrated masterpiece.
People,
God damn it.
people slammed it so, and it's funny because I've spoken about it to a coworker as well because she was like, "Oh yeah, I was showing it to some students," and I went, "Oh yeah, people notoriously like hate that film," and she's like, "What?" and she had no clue about it. But I'm like, it's just because it was. It's a bit more nothing. It's not like nothing, but
that
it's
another
one of
him
those
direct?
slower paced. It's very cinematic shots, which is like very on brand for what the Severance stuff is that you see.
Maybe it's because also they expect something, because Ben Stiller in the 2000s was like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I
see
did
his
not
face.
expect
comedy.
Ben Stiller to be so, like, film-minded.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he is.
Totally makes sense,
watching
because-
anything he's ever done, I'll be like, funny man.
Yeah.
Dodgeball is like mid shots
Yeah,
and improv
Zoolander.
comedy.
Like it's all flat lighting, everything's flat because I guess he wasn't behind the camera, and then
Who
eventually
cares?
he's
It's
like,
a $20 million film. Because this is incredibly well directed is he directing? Did he direct all the episodes?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Direct every episode last
I'm
season.
pretty sure.
and it helps. Like we've been doing so much of every other show has been like this guy does episode 1
Yeah,
and
just
7.
having one showrunner
Like
and so many different.
it helps a lot when you have a consistent look and feel and vibe, because like you're not randomly being given this character that's 3 episodes into their journey and being like, what do you want to do for this one plot point?
It's why I'm keen for Squid Game. If Squid Game is 10 hours of David Fincher, I'm like, yeah. If American Squid Game is David Fincher doing that.
Right.
Because that seems to be the all but confirmed is David
He's probably one of the only people I'd trust with it, as in like
I would not give a shit if it
auteur.
wasn't David Fincher.
You need an auteur for that, otherwise it's going to be like, you did the same
get
thing
excited
again.
thinking about it. Like David Fincher filming that shit is going to be so good.
Let's all pray to Keir Egan that this doesn't have the season 2 cancellation curse.
No, it won't.
Please.
It won't. It's too big.
So the last shot,
The very last shot.
they all go back to macro data refining, and it's all hunky dory. And then in a little
band's back together.
cliffhanger, like a little stinger shot, basically we cut from Mark doing his normal job to it goes, and then we get to see. Okay, it's either a different floor and it's someone else
But
working
he's refining
on
her
a
is the
similar
connection.
thing, or it's him refining her, and that's what it is behind the encryption.
And it says T25. Like this is the 25th time that
We
she's
get
being refined.
so many things. We get her heart rate. We get her ID number. Cold Harbor is a thing from the Civil War. No idea if that matters at all.
Americans help.
We have her ID number. We have
Build. It's
IT
the 25th
number?
build.
that could be the program itself, or it could be the thing in the back of her head, because she's obviously
So
severed.
look, there's 5 things. So
She's
what are
alive. We've got her
those?
heart rate,
Yeah, like the 1 to 5, and they're all.
which are her emotions.
Yes.
But there's 4 tempers though.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
is
There's
the
4
fifth?
tempers.
Actually, there's 4 tempers per thing. They also WODRFCMA.
You've got woe, frolic, dread, and malice, which is the shortcuts.
Okay,
WO.
that lines up with the bottom
Yeah.
things down there.
So all of them have woe, frolic, but there's 5 places to put those emotions.
Yes, there's 5 things that are probably refining her. So there might be 5 different stations reminding
There's
her.
5 different stations refining
or
her.
they don't even give him all of the refines per time. Like maybe he does one, then he moves on to the next one, then he does the next
How
one.
many different sections are there of the brain? Just the 2? Is there more than
As
that?
in, brain cut
I
down the
don't know,
middle?
like,
What's
can
a
you
brain?
can you section it into 5? Is there one particular
and
part of the
then
brain?
she's alive. We've got a heart rate, and we've got a picture of what looks like a brain scan to me, like the weird 4 circles. Yeah, so they're refining her because those boxes down the bottom are the emotions, and then the percentage is how much Mark has refined her. It's literally just like 5 times he has to refine her woe, dread, malice. So there's 5 batches of things that he has to do.
I am lucky enough to have made 4 new friends today.
I don't think we're ever going to see them again, are we? That's the joke with Mark W, Gwendolyn, and Daria. They were just this weird what if.
Well, they're getting so many more guest stars in this. Yeah, so it's just people coming and going.
So yeah, Cold Harbor means something. It might just be her code name, or it's like the entire Severance program. Like that could be called Cold Harbor on the back end.
That's such a cool shot.
That
As
could
a
be
Blade Runner fan,
Harbour,
it gets me
another
going.
water thing.
That gives me such big Blade Runner
Yeah,
vibes.
Cold
that
Harbor.
shot.
The water is in a harbor. That's as far as I can help you there.
I love analog sci-fi stuff.
Retrofuturism.
Retrofuturism, it's great. So I love
Yeah.
any stuff like that.
I feel woe that the episode was over. I felt like I could frolic watching season 2 finally start. Malice will form in me soon when I have to wait another week. It's all just
when the episode bad.
and
You
I
dread.
dread the day they fumble this storyline.
As of right now, I mean, you can clip this in episode 8 if I'm disappointed. I can't imagine being disappointed.
Yeah.
It just feels, you just know when you're watching a show that you've got, in this case, 2 pairs of really good hands. You've got Ben Stiller and Dan Erickson.
Yeah.
They both just have created this, and you just feel like, oh, they know exactly what they're doing.
It just feels intentional.
Yeah,
all the
everything
weirdness.
feels intentional. There doesn't feel to be any missteps
Yeah,
or anything.
especially the fucking turning on the monitor. Didn't even notice.
But yeah, I guess our plan is now for the next few weeks is we aren't really going to be discussing the quality. It's more just breaking it down and theorising.
I'm very nitpicky, so we'll see what I find.
There was nothing here I hated other than just, God damn it, I want all of the season right now.
Yes.
Like, That's all it is.
But
yeah.
we also appreciate the
that we can do
keeping
this.
us waiting. We can discuss. We can figure out theories. Who
Somewhat.
thinks what? I want to know if you guys think that Helly is also Helena and not.
Yeah, do you think it's Helly being just a bit weird and we're overthinking it?
Tell us down below what your theories are. Is there anything we missed? Because we probably missed a lot.
Are you glad this is weekly, or do you desperately wish you just had all of it to binge right now?
You want to hear us rant about all of the other episodes in the future? Then hit subscribe and smash that bell so you know what's coming up.
Do you wish Bergen Beard stayed as a sausage fest, or are you happy to have Sarah here?
I'm happy to be in this bowl of sausage.